Kaiser, do you have a lawyer? Right. This
How
is
you gonna do a problem? It's been a problem with all the lawyers out there.
well. You have here today. You have a charge of possession of a weapon by a convicted felon. You have driving on a revoked license, possession of drug paraphernalia, violation of seatbelt law, and then you also have a motion to revoke your bond on those cases based upon the fact that the state alleges that your bonds would be revoked.
Why? Why should my bond be revoked?
Because there's a state statute that says under 4011-143 of the Tennessee Code, anyone who is released on bond for a criminal offense and therefore and subsequently is arrested on a new criminal offense can have their bond revoked. So what this alleges is that on July the 3rd, you were arrested for evading arrest, Class E felony in Stewart County, Tennessee. And on July the 3rd, you were arrested for use of an OHV on a highway. And you were on bond for possession of a weapon, as I stated what your pending charges were. So as a result, the state is asking that I revoke your bond. Why was Mr. Kaiser taken into custody today?
The last two charges you just read off, sir.
Oh. So,
Those were on July 4th from the warrant for that.
and you have new charges that you've just been arrested on.
No, those are the same charges that you read off.
Well, these are new charges that you've just been arrested on, if I understand correctly. And those charges include possession of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, revoked license, registration violation, and theft. And then a second indictment.
No, sir.
Pardon?
I hadn't been arrested on this. What's future marijuana and
This
all that.
alleges that you and Samantha Kaiser.
No, sir.
Sorry.
I'm already in trial for that.
Is this just out of the recent grand jury?
No, that one actually, I think,
Those all go together, so what you just read.
like last month. I guess it's just been served on. Okay. Yeah, I don't.
All that goes
The
together.
charges that he's in custody today for is out of general sessions. Those
Oh,
are
he's been
pending
taken into custody of the general session.
These charges that you have in your hand are set for status.
It looks like the warrants that the motion to revoke off of were sworn out on July, but not served until this very morning, Your Honor. So General Woodall did subpoena the officer, but the state will just ask the court to take judicial notice of the new charges.
Well, I see that it appears that he had an attorney appointed for him, and that attorney was allowed to withdraw by Judge Wallace.
Yes, sir.
And was he not appointed another attorney when he was allowed to? Why not?
I think it's. I don't know. They were just that or.
Oh, I can tell you, I can explain the issue.
Explain it to me.
Well, the issue is, I have a problem with the way the officer handled it. So when I write stuff against the officer, the lawyer step down. It's not nothing personal. It's just they say they can't go against the police department in Stewart County. Every lawyer I've had to withdraw. That's what it was. Not because this and that. It's because I asked for something to be done, and he tells me he's not gonna do it. So we couldn't. I can't have nobody tell me like that. So he steps down because I wrote paperwork against Officer Josh Miller, which nobody knows where that paperwork is at either.
You're in custody at the present time, and you've already had an attorney appointed for you that's now been allowed to withdraw. So I'm going to do some research about what attorney I can find that can be appointed to represent you. So I need you to just have a seat in the box.
Can I say something about those, the arrests that you said that I'm in custody for today? Well, when I was in custody at this jail on July 3rd. They took me to Paris, Tennessee, which the incident happened in Houston County. But Stewart County is the one who got me to this jail, arrested me, and then sent me to Paris, Tennessee hospital for a day and a half, maybe, day and a half, 2 days, and then come over and told me that I wasn't under arrest. I didn't have no arrest. So then, after I get out of the hospital, I called down here to make a complaint about the way I was treated. And then they told me I do have a warrant arrest. But they released me from the hospital, I guess because they didn't want the bail or whatever, but either they arrested me on the 3rd, and this was taken care of because I was in custody down here at this jail until EMS got here, or they took me against my will. I mean, one way or the other, I didn't ask to go to Paris. They left me in Paris. They picked me up in Houston County. They dropped me off in Paris. Get home how I got to get home. With no phone calls, no nothing. With probably, well, I'm medical record shows how messed up and stuff, but that's all I'm saying. But
Well,
I don't understand why this is even going on. Because that's my job. I work with small engines. State law says I can ride that on the highway, cross a 2-lane highway at a 90-degree angle.
well, you're arguing the merits of your case, which I'm not paying any attention to anything you're saying right now. So if you want to just stand there and talk, you can do that, but you're just wasting your time and my time. I'm trying to explain to you that you have the right to an attorney. You're in custody right now. The state has requested to revoke your bond. I'm trying to find a lawyer that I can appoint to represent you because you've had counsel appointed and they've been allowed to withdraw. I need to find a lawyer who can represent you because you've got cases pending and we're going to deal with those. But I need first and foremost for you to have a seat and let me find a lawyer that I think can represent you. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Just have a seat. We'll come back to you. This is Monday, right?
Yes. Becoming more apparent about.
We have a 2020 CR 104 that I skipped over on page 4, but that shows that that person is at large. I assume she's still at large. Melissa M. Holloway. Good morning.
We are asking for exoneration under the pretense that last time we was here, we said we would revisit this.
I'm sorry.
We would revisit this. And you gave me an extension, because she was in San Bernardino, California. She was in the courthouse there, and they would not hold her or pick her up because it said it was unextradited. So, kind of let me stand in. If you have it.
Well, it's a felony possession of methamphetamine with intent to sell, simple possession of unlawful drug paraphernalia. And at this point, I granted you an extension until August the 7th, and there's not been a formal motion for exoneration filed, has there?
We have. I'm not stepping wrong.
When was this filed? When was it filed? We don't have it in the court file, so I can tell you it hasn't been filed, at least as far as the court file shows. The fact that she was in California and then, let me hand that back to you. The fact that she was in California and in a courthouse and then they didn't hold her,
Correct.
but was she never in custody of the sheriff's,
She was arrested, yes. She was.
I think for an exoneration, I've got to have proof given in the record that she was in the custody of the law enforcement.
She was arrested on this month. She was arrested and released. Then after that, she had court for us.
Well, the fact that she was arrested, but was she actually taken into custody and then a hold put upon her?
They would not put a hold upon her because once they called Stewart County said, I guess it was too far to pick her up. And it was unextraditable, is what they said.
Well, at this point, I'm going to reset your request, or I'm going to give you an extension until the December the 8th. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to look at the statute that we're now operating under regarding an exoneration, because if she was just arrested in another state and there was no hold put upon her, then I will have to determine whether or not there is a basis for the exoneration. And I'll certainly give you until December the 8th to continue to try to locate her.
That'll be fine, Your Honor. I do appreciate it. So.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about that. Judge David D. Wolfe's courtroom had no shortage of moving parts today, and the hearing with Connor Kaiser stood out as a lesson in how quickly things can get tangled once bond conditions collide with fresh allegations. Judge Wolfe handled it with a steady hand, making clear that the central issue wasn't the defendant's narrative about hospitals or traffic laws, but the fact that state law in Tennessee allows bond revocation if someone on release racks up new charges. The judge was patient. He let Connor have his say, even when the defendant drifted into side stories about being transported against his will or arguing the technicalities of riding small engines on highways. But Wolfe repeatedly steered him back to the only thing that mattered in that moment: representation and procedure. That's classic Wolfe, focused, and not letting himself get pulled into the weeds of disputed facts before trial. Connor Kaiser himself made for quite a presence. His body language and words suggested frustration, maybe even distrust in the system. He insisted that his prior attorney withdrew not because of him, but because local lawyers refused to challenge law enforcement. He went on about writing paperwork and making complaints, and you could sense he felt cornered, like every move he made bounced back against him. What stood out was that he wasn't belligerent, but rather persistent, almost trying to litigate his case directly to the judge right then and there. It was earnest in a way, but it didn't do him any favors, because Judge Wolfe wasn't entertaining arguments about guilt or innocence. Instead, the judge was simply trying to get Connor squared away with new counsel. As for the state side, the prosecutor was straightforward. Bond revocation was requested because of new arrests in July, including evading arrest and other charges. There wasn't any grandstanding, just a reliance on statute. The courtroom atmosphere reflected that balance, tense but controlled. There was even a touch of unintentional humor when Connor kept circling back with why. Questions as though persistence might change the statute itself. It didn't, of course, but it underscored how out of sync defendants can feel when the law seems to move faster than their explanations. Wolfe's handling of the second matter, involving a request for bond exoneration in another case, showed his methodical side. The party claimed a defendant was arrested in California but not held due to extradition limits. Judge Wolfe reset the issue to December so he could review the statute and give them more time. No rush, no drama, just careful application of the law. It capped the hearing with the reminder that procedure rules everything in that courtroom, not anecdotes or frustrations. So, overall, Judge Wolfe was composed and fair. Connor was insistent, but somewhat scattershot in focus, and the state simply pressed the statutory point. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one.